Hey Phil, have you heard of the Gay Straight Alliance Club?
Yeah, I heard about it. The program ran by Mr. Doyle, right?
Yes, and if you are interested, you should tune into the next interview.
Hi, I'm Adriana Wright here with Mr. Doyle, the advisor of the Gay Straight Alliance, and today we're here to talk about the club and get more information about it. So, what is the Gay Straight Alliance?
So at Norristown High School, we have an organization, lots of high schools have this, a Gay Straight Alliance, which is an opportunity for students who are gay, trans, bisexual, or lesbian to meet together in a comfortable space with what we might call allies, or straight folks who want to be a part of helping that community feel safe and develop.
Okay, so when do you guys meet?
So we meet on Tuesdays this year, although we're in the process of making a decision about whether it's Tuesdays or Thursdays at our first meeting, which will be October 3rd, if my memory serves me correctly. It's the first Tuesday in October.
How do I join?
So joining the club is, unlike many clubs, we're not a club where you have to join. So some clubs you have to fill out a form and say I'm going to be a part of it or register for the club. But really what we're trying to do is create an open, comfortable space for people who are gay or fall into the LGBTQ sort of world. We want them to have a place they can meet. So we meet in room 349, or 347, which is Ms. Lively's room, room down there. We meet in that room, and anyone can come on any given day. We sort of like to know who the core members are, and we keep tabs on who's coming to the meeting so we know who wants support or is asking for support, but anyone can show up at any time that they need to have a place to be.
Okay, and because it's an alliance, anyone can join, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's any student in the building, and we also encourage faculty members if they're interested in being a part of it. So Ms. Noblock and I ran it last year, and actually Ms. Noblock, the school nurse who retired, is coming back this year just for those meetings. And we spend time with whoever comes into the room, and it's a pretty free-form space, and so anyone can join because it's open to anyone who needs support.
Okay, and what kind of activities do you guys do?
So some of what we do is sit in a room and let people talk about the issues they encounter in the building. Some folks have difficulty with issues about gender. And so we let them talk about the issues or struggles that they're having in classes. I know a student who says, a teacher or another student says to them something about the way they're dressing or the way they're behaving. And we sort of let them talk that out in an environment where they can feel safe to talk about it. But we also do things like we ran an event for Transgender Awareness Week last year. We posted signs around the building and ran some other activities, letting people know about who are transgender people in the world, people they might not even expect that's the case, and sort of how that works. We do, we have presentations at like the Young Scholars Martin Luther King Day event. We do a presentation there to talk about social justice issues with folks who are dealing with gender. We also, last year, we contacted a young lady who runs a very powerful GSA out in Oakland, California, and we did a live Skype question and answer about issues that they were encountering out there versus issues our students were encountering and how they deal with it. That student is trans, and so we got the opportunity to have a conversation about what it means to put testosterone in your body to move from female to male and how that works, so that people have an understanding of what's happening. And we talk about what gender means. So we let the room be a place where we talk about that. So what does it mean to be male or female? What does it mean to be attracted to something or identify as something? And what are those words and how does all that work?
Okay, and when was the GSA formed?
So the GSA has been around for a while in this building, and I don't know the beginning of it. It began being run by Mr. Spears and Ms. Shaw, so the guidance counselor and the physics and math teacher. And they ran it for a couple of years, and there was a lot of interest. And it's interesting, in Norristown High School, there's sort of waves of interest in this. So there's kids who are gay or lesbian who become really activists at periods of times, and they demand some support, and that's where the group came from. Kids came forward and said they wanted to meet. And so they formed the group, and it's probably, I would say, as back as far as 10 years. But the group started to really fade, and Ms. Noblock and I were concerned because we spend time with a decent number of students who have gender issues, and we had some gender issues happen in the building, especially revolving around bathroom issues, and a student who was presenting as female and discussing this sort of trans experience and the problems with it. And so we thought they needed support. So Ms. Noblock wanted to run the club. She wanted someone else there, so we had some balance. It's good to have both genders present, right, in the room. I have a tremendous amount of experience both through theater, and my brother's trans, and had spent a hunk of his time when he was still female as lesbian. And so I understand that community fairly well, so could offer that support. And Ms. Noblock's like the sweetest, most beautiful human being on the planet.
Yeah.
And she's just great and supportive that way. So she brought the snacks, and I brought the activism, and we opened the door for kids to come together.
And how would you say last year went for you guys?
So it was the best okay year you could have. When we had meetings where we had a lot of kids at it, they were spectacular. But there were times where it was very difficult for kids to get to meetings, and we were running every other week, and it became too confusing for people to make meetings. So this year we're running every week on Tuesday, providing about 45 minutes to an hour worth of time for kids after school. That every week I think will make a difference for us. But last year we had trouble with continued attendance. And you know, the other thing, and it even happened as we were prepping this interview, right? Who's going to do the interview? People are uncomfortable with the topic, right? And that discomfort is something that makes kids afraid sometimes to come to that club meeting, because right next door is the football team meeting at the same time, and they're afraid maybe there's going to be some anxiety or stress around that. So some kid who's not ready to come out may be afraid to come to the meeting. But that's also why it's a Gay Straight Alliance. So you don't know what kids who in that room unless they want to share, and it gives them a safe place to meet.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just that we meet in 347 every Tuesday, and you can look for information on the Eagle News. There'll be signs up in the hall as well. Kids are already coming to me asking about those meetings, and so you can come, you can attend. You don't have to be gay or lesbian or trans or bi or anything to walk into the room. We're also associating ourselves a little bit with an organization locally that's at a church down the street, which we'll talk about probably later in some other interview, that's offering some support for us. So they're very supportive of gender issues, so we can have someone come in from the outside to offer some other support. So they're the things. Just come to the meetings, check it out. You don't have to come every week, 347 and after school on Tuesdays.
Okay, thank you. I'm Adriana Wright here with Mr. Doyle, and we talked about the Gay Straight Alliance. Back to our host.